Salam Zanzi, welcome to it once again as Hollywoodbets brings you GameON. And, well, the phase of the day, the football never ends, only the matches do. And before the weekend's action gets underway, let's talk football then as we focus on the big news that came out of South Africa last week, of course, with Magezi being crowned champions of the Carling knockout. Congratulations to them. And what's happening out in England in as far as Liverpool trying to pull away from the rest of the chasing pack. Plenty to unpack with the likes of Jerry Skosana as well as Shane McGregor. Shane, great to be in your company. And my, oh my, what a weekend we've had. Let's talk the biggest news. The current champions, Manchester City, go into Saturday's derby, the last match on Saturday, or not really a derby, but the match against Tottenham Hotspur, 4-0. The scoreline in favour of Tottenham Hotspur. Currently, City 6 games on the trot without a win. At the end of their last match, Pep Guardiola, if he had hair, would have been pulling it out. He doesn't have any hair, so he's scratching himself and literally drawing blood. Is it that stressful for City right now?
Yeah, very stressful, you know, and what a manager goes through.
Yeah.
Exactly, so that's the thing. But yeah, they on a bad run. They can't buy a win, they can't buy a win, can't do anything at the moment. And unfortunately for them, nothing is working. It'll turn, sooner or later it'll turn. I hope not this weekend, but it always turns, the wheel turns. But yeah, he's under big stress.
Well, this result suggests, including results in recent weeks, problems on both sides of the field here, scoring and defending. Against Tottenham in particular, outside of Haaland's chances, which were the best they had, nobody else really getting clear-cut chances. Is that another problem for City, that if Haaland is not finding the mark, or even if he does score one, they'll still go and concede 2 or 3 on the other end?
That's the big worry for them at the moment, is the amount of goals they're conceding. And, you know, I've been waxing lyrical the whole year about Rodri being out, and that's been the problem. And that is their big problem, is they're conceding goals and they can't seem to stem the tide. And, you know, at the moment, you can try anything and it's not working. Like you say, you know, Haaland doesn't score, they're not getting the goals, but they've got players coming back through injury, and they're starting to slowly but surely build the squad up again. But at the moment, it's a good time to play them.
I think it's safe to say, pick up to Tottenham Hotspur. It's not as much as City losing that match, rather than Tottenham winning it with a 4-0 scoreline. Yeah. Great day for Tottenham.
Great game for Tottenham.
As well.
You know, the worst part is you don't know what Tottenham team's going to pitch up on a Saturday. But he was under a bit of pressure. But a 4-0 win over Man City, I mean, no, he can't be under pressure. But he's got to be more consistent now.
Talked about Chelsea and the season they're having, 3rd on the log now, and they continue to come up with the good results. Then they, of course, lashed up that 2-1 win over Leicester City amongst the new boys in the current campaign. But Chelsea doing the business, tied with Arsenal on points.
I keep on looking when they're going to slip up, you know, and that's been my thing the last few weeks. Is, you know, they blow out and cold as well. They're similar to Spurs, but they just seem to keep on doing it. Leicester City, manager got fired straight after that. I see Van Nistelrooy has gone there now. That'll be quite interesting. But Chelsea, yeah, they just need to keep on getting those results, and that's a good thing. Doesn't matter how you win, as long as you're winning.
And, of course, the log leaders, Liverpool, have stretched their lead now to what is a comfortable number of points, 8 at the top, but had to fight against the Southampton side that seems to be their own worst enemies in trying to play from the black and constantly giving away goals and mistakes.
No, I said to you last week that Southampton always a difficult team for Liverpool to play against. But as I said, you know, like you said, giving away at the back. I mean, surely they must learn from that. Didn't they learn from Burnley? Burnley did the same thing, and the same thing's happening here. They got no plan B, which is a worry for me, that as a big club like that, and they are a big club, Southampton, they don't have a plan B in place. So you've got to have that plan B in place. They got the players. It's just, I think the manager, just the arrogance of him, that he thinks that they can play from the back. Yeah, it's good to the eyes, but it's not getting you points.
Certainly isn't. I think the commentators were pointing out that they're the one side that's made the most mistakes playing out from the back and conceding the most so far out in England. United, new coach, Ipswich at home to them. Ipswich again, one of the new boys on the block, but one could argue they outplayed Manchester United just in out-and-out play.
Yeah, it's difficult for United because he wasn't there long. The guys were on international duty. I understand that. I understand all the excuses because there was a lot of excuses after the game. We'll see this week. You know, he's had a few more days to work with them. We'll see where he is, how much changes he's done. We all know the way he plays. I mean, he's going to play the 3 at the back. Whether United have got the players to play the 3 at the back is another story. But yeah, it'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks to see exactly what happens. Transfer window in Jan, will he be buying players? only time will tell.
Well, let's talk about what's happening today. Later on, the last game of the day, Derby, West Ham at home to Arsenal, who will look to build a bit of a run. Saka back in the starting 11. Odegaard, we mentioned last week back. It's looking like Arsenal are going to try and build a bit of momentum going towards the end of the year.
You mentioned the difference, Odegaard.
Yeah.
It makes such a huge difference in the team, and we've seen it. When he's out injured, they went through the bad patch, he's back in. They're a different team altogether with him. I don't know what it is, but he just seems to pull all the strings. They're looking good again. They now need to keep on fighting, getting the points and keeping the pressure up on Liverpool.
Can Chelsea keep the good times rolling? They're at home to Aston Villa.
Initially, I thought Chelsea would win this. You know, Villa have gone through a bad patch. I think this has got draw written all over it, to be very honest with you. I can't see anything else but a draw.
Now, save the best for last, and as far as the fixtures for this weekend, you'll like this one, or maybe you'll be pulling your hair out at the end of it all. Liverpool at home against Manchester City. Is it a good time for Liverpool to play against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, vulnerable and fragile as they look?
Yes and no. I'll tell you why, yes and no, because now Man City got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Go out and get a victory, so they'll throw everything at Liverpool. For Liverpool, it's a matter of just keeping their shape and just playing the way they normally do. They'll score a lot more goals. It's going to be difficult for City to score against Liverpool. At the moment, Liverpool got one of the best defence around, so it's going to be difficult in that aspect. Cracking game, one I definitely want to be watching.
Now, have to quickly ask you, 8 points right now. The importance of this game, if Liverpool win, they could stretch it to 11 points at the top of the table.
Over City, yeah.
Ahead of December even.
Yeah, and that's never heard of. You know, I heard a stat the other day that a team going into December with an 8-point lead has never lost the league, have won the league. But Liverpool have got to go through their bad patch. And that's the thing, you know, it's just 3 games. You lose 3 games, boom, catch up to you.
So, important game this weekend. One could argue a game that could very well set the tone going into the second half of the season, especially for Liverpool at the top in City, looking to play catch-up. So, thanks to Shane McGregor, exciting times out in England. And I'll tell you what, equally exciting times here in South Africa with Makesi being the new giant slayers in South African football.
Better than that.
Want to bet?
You are on.
Breaking news. Gogo takes a prize challenge to a penalty shootout.
Aziz again.
Let's go.
Brian looks confident here. What? He's completely missed it. Here comes Gogo. And what a kick! She's done it! She's done the impossible! Hollywoodbets, Azisheke, let's play.
Welcome back to GameON, and so much to talk about with regards to the local game and the Colling Knockout Final, to a point where we will focus on the game now and have a special interview as a nice little surprise for you. Coming up on the third segment, speaking to Clinton Larson. But for now, we talk game. I've got the pleasure of sitting alongside Jerry Skwasana. Let's talk about it. Sundowns come into this game against Makesi, or Makesi against Sundowns, maybe I should say. And do we have new giant slayers in South African football? And how do Sundowns get it wrong with 8 Bafana internationals in the starting 11 and still see Makesi coming from behind? Where was the big change or the difference here?
Oh, Sizo, oh my, oh my. I thought I saw it coming when we spoke about the final in our last edition, but unfortunately, I did say it was going to be difficult for Sundowns because I was looking at the point of having all the Sundowns players with the Bafana going outside in terms of traveling and stuff, and then you're going to play a major cup final in South Africa.
That was Bafika Thursday.
Bafika Thursday.
Yeah.
And now they're playing Saturday, again, away from home. Sometimes when you travel away, when you come back, you want to meet the family and stuff. But I don't think that's what happened with Sundowns. I mean, you look at the starting lineup of Sundowns against Makesi. That team can beat any team in the PSL, if I have to put it like that. But unfortunately, I can give it to Makesi. When I say unfortunately, it's like their mentality. You know, the way they play, the way they work inside the field. And you look at all the 4 games that they played away from home, even though they were like the home team in the final, but they were away from home. But that was a home for the head coach, Clinton Larson.
But School Sundowns good the first half. I mean, when you look at the chances, Bakore early, they got all the chances first half. Azimona or Ronan Williams in the first half from a defensive point of view with Sundowns. Was the game lost in that first half, Sundowns, by not being able to score more than just the one goal?
I think that's where they've just given all their resources in terms of saying, yes, we know maybe it's going to take its toll against the players that come from the Bafana trip. So let's give it our all in the first half. I mean, that was maybe the game plan. But unfortunately, Chipezeze was there. I mean, the last line of defense was just so magnificent. Yes, he got one goal, but he did well. And it was good for Marumo Gallants because it showed immediately on the second half. Makesi started changing the tune and they got that early goal. And that's where it tells you that, it was more like, let's sit back, relax and hold them.
Yeah.
That's the game plan of the coach. Let them get frustrated. There's one goal, we might come back. And that's exactly what happened with Makesi in terms of Clinton Larson planning.
It all starts with a good defense.
Yeah.
Hold them. Chipezeze, unbelievable good tournament.
Ooh.
Easily the player of the tournament. 4 matches, 4 men of the match awards. Even in the final with Ronan Williams on the other side, now who was outstanding. Chipezeze.
Hey, if I was the chairman of Makesi, of course, I mean, I wouldn't worry about the incentive of of Chipezeze. I mean, he played 4 games. Last 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final. Man of the match. That's a 400K. Because each man of the match is 100K. So that's an incentive on its own. But I want to just take it to the other angle to say you're looking at this goalkeeper that is just so good in the PSL, coming from the championship, Motsepe championship, and coming back and be the top goalkeeper in the PSL. People ask themselves to say, why was he let go to go and play in the lower division when he looks this good? Because, I mean, there's nobody who can get 4 men of the match in the cup.
Yeah,
like every game. He was like the pillar of strength in terms of the last line of defense for Makesi.
It's worth remembering, Chipezeze was outstanding when out in Gqeberha, Orlando Pirates played against Ibaroka in the then Telkom Knockout, same competition, the League Cup, and Baroka had the beating of Pirates on that day. So, Navele, he's proven over the years to be a very good keeper, especially on the big stage. But let's talk going forward now. They withstand the pressure. Amadoda Clinton Larson, second half, they start to play a bit more, get a few more box entries, it gets much better. Where do they get it right on that left side? And Chiramba Ndare, how important was he on that left side?
I think for me, I would always give credit to the boy that I always talk about. I mean, Wonder Boy Makugu. I mean, when he started the second half, it was a little bit different. Because for him, it's not about when you talk about a striker and then you want to see somebody scoring goals. Look at the effect or the impact that he did in the game, to disturb the defense because of his mobility. He's a good striker for me. It's not because he's not scoring goals. People want to look at that and say, why is somebody who was scoring goals talking about somebody who's not scoring? But for me, I look at the impact that it brings, to create those spaces for Abu Kakora, Abu Chiramba Ndare in terms of crosses. You look at the first goal when the cross was made. He's the one that takes defenders, and then unfortunately, he had a little bit of a slip, and that concentration level in terms of the people that were marking him, it was gone because he took them away with him. And then it was an easy header that got by Kakora to score. So you always look at those things and say the contribution, but also the defense. These guys, they can mark very well.
Clinton Larson, no Mzava. They beat Sundowns back 2012, Telkom Knockout Final. They both come back now. Makesi, Umzava's there amongst the experienced players, of course, defensively, and they do so well defensively. And they beat Sundowns again. Clinton Larson Uchingaye, and just the fact that he's taking this no-name brand that's Makesi, and it's the most talked about club in South Africa right now.
Let's go back to what I just said in terms of Chipezeze. Being a good goalkeeper, you've mentioned when they beat Pirates at Gqeberha in the then Telkom Cup.
Telkom Knockout,
Telkom Knockout, what is a good keeper showing today. Now you come with Clinton Larson. I mean, we're talking about beating Sundowns when he was still with Bloemfontein Celtics to show his pedigree in terms of being a good coach in the PSL. But he was also let go, and then he had to go down to the
come back up,
championship and come back, and to Clint Mzava as well. I mean, this is the consistency that you always want to see in terms of the veterans in your team, and they are contributing a lot. So for me, big up to Clinton, Mzava. This is their territory where they always demolish Sundowns. I mean, they did it with Celtics years back. Now, again, with Makesi, against the same team, Sundowns.
Yeah, quite a return for Larsen Mzava to Bloemfontein, of course, to lift yet another trophy. And we take our hats off to Makesi for a lovely performance in the way of the Telkom, or rather, the Carling knockout. And congratulate them on a job well done in some rather impressive results as the new giant slayers of South African football. On the other side of this, Clinton Larsen joins us here on GameON. Welcome back to GameON, and well, let's talk about the return of the PSL. And after a good midweek result, Kaizer Chiefs will be looking for, well, a couple of wins in a row here and try and pick up some momentum going into December. They play against Wele.
Yeah, I think if you look at the game that they just played now in the return of the PSL, they won 2-1 against Richards Bay, and then another KZN team in Real AM that has got its own internal problems.
Yeah.
You know, but I think Chiefs will do better because they're really, really looking forward to getting all these maximum points from these teams.
It's announced, Baluzugu final, but through the Champions League, they'll want to get back to winning ways, but they'll end Kukun.
Yeah, I think it's too much workload to my players with Sundowns, and I think it's Kukune after Naso Siluzile to ETS Galaxy 3-1. They would want to try and get something, but let's hope it's going to be a good game, but I'll also give it to Sundowns.
And then Sasa, the big game weekend. On the continent now, away from home. Pirates, Bawinile, impressively away from home. Stellenbosch, they found the going tough in Mali, losing 2-0. They face each other in a game that should be rather exciting.
Yeah, I mean, both teams coming back from traveling in the continent and going to play against each other. And you know, it's always been a good game when Pirates and Steelers are put together. So it's going to be a good one. But yeah, let's look at the goals that the young Stan Kotako scored for Orlando Pirates. I mean, that's a motivation. You look at also the young Mufokeng, their combination.
Yeah.
You know, the DDC structure is taking its toll on Pirates.
Yeah, it's working.
They are. I'm more than excited, to be honest. I mean, to look at these youngsters playing the way they're playing. I hope it's not going to go into their heads. It's just going to stay with them, and hope there is somebody that will give them a good guidance in terms of them going forward and taking their football to greener pastures.
Well, Cheletsko Sana is excited. The exciting times continue, of course, as on the other side of this, we have a nice, interesting chat with the man who had a rather exciting weekend, that being Clinton Larsen, the Carling knockout champion. As we promised you, that big interview with a special individual who, of course, as a player, played for Manning Rangers, won the league with them, and also played for Orlando Pirates, including the national team. He's won the South African version of the League Cup on 2 occasions, once with Bloemfontein Celtic when it was the Telkom knockout, and now, most recently, with, of course, Makesi, as it's known these days as the Carling knockout. So it's a special day to say hello to a man who's having an exciting time in as far as his career. That's Clinton Larsen. Thank you so much for your time, Clinton, and congratulations on a job superbly done. How's it feel having gone through such an introduction to Magesi's start to the season and to the Carling knockout?
Thank you so much, Sizwe. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. You know, firstly with promotion in May, and now following that up, within 6 months of being crowned Carling champions. It's just been a roller coaster ride, you know. It hasn't been easy, as you know, 3 away games in the cup leading up to the final, but not going to extra time in any of the games, and grinding results every single game all the way through to the final. It's just been an amazing effort by the boys, you know, and it's just a real fairy tale story for this little club from Molechi, Polokwane.
Yeah, and of course, to have this sort of success, you have to have success defensively. You have to have success per game offensively as well. And I'll start off with defensively and talk about Chipezeze and how influential he's been in getting Magesi not only to the final. I'm not saying it's just him alone, but his role that he's played in getting you there and beyond the final. And also offensively, with the few chances you've created, you've been able to get the better of the teams you've played. I think of the shots on target, you're close to, if not at 100% shots on target, equating to goals. Talk to us about those two different platforms on the other side of the game and how well you've done in those regards.
Yeah, surely. Defensively, yes, Elvis has played a huge role. You know, his form has been second to none, especially in the Richards Bay and Sundowns games. You know, he was really called upon on 4 or 5 occasions and really made some world-class saves in those 2 particular games. So really, really big performances from him. But that's what we know of Elvis. He's always been a great shot stopper. You know, and we wanted to force teams to shoot from distance because it would really take something special to beat Elvis from 20-25 yards. And yes, he may have his shortcomings in terms of distribution and other areas of the game, but when it comes to saving shots from distance, his reflexes are amazing. You know, his understanding of angles and how to protect his goal are very, very good. And he's been a big part of why we currently are champions. But like you've said, it hasn't been him alone. The likes of the 2 Makonis, Delano Abrams, Limbikani Mzava, and Samuel Dapo. And Samuel Dapo as our defensive midfield. Those 5 players have also contributed immensely to keeping some of these teams at bay. And when it comes to our offensive play, you know, I'm so blessed. We may not have the most technical of players, but what I'm very blessed with is that we've got some very athletic players. When you look at Wonderboy Makubu, Tsepo Mashiko, Tsepo Kakora, Diolin Mekoa, Chirambe Dare, you know, some of these players and the mileage they do each game, the amount of pressing they do, the shifting they do. We're not a team that has a lot of the ball. So they've bought into that fact. They've bought into that fact, knowing that we may not have a lot of the ball, but there are areas we're very strong at. And they really enjoy the defensive side of the game as well. So I'm blessed as a coach to have such players who have bought into knowing our true identity as a team.
Also, how apt was it that this game was in Bloemfontein, a place, like I say, you and Zava were there, but a place that you were at home at for so long? How good was the feeling of having success in Bloemfontein, considering your history in Bloemfontein?
Oh, yes, it's my second home. Sizwe. It's a place where myself and my family have so many fond memories. We actually thought we'd retire there, live there forever. You know, it's only recently that we sold our property, you know. So we really, really love the place. And, you know, playing in front of those supporters, it's an honor, it's a privilege, you know, to play in front of such supporters. And to go back to them and to have them, you know, call you and applaud you and sing your name is just it's an amazing feeling. Not many get to experience that. Yeah, so I don't know if this was written in the stars, you know, for this final to be in Bloemfontein and to win it in the way that we won it, being totally dominated, totally. And we knew that going into the game. We're not a pretentious team, and I'm not a pretentious coach that's going to talk about possession and build-up play because we just don't have the players to play that way. And like I said, I'm very, very lucky that the players that we do have bought into who we are. And can still try to win football games knowing who we are as a team.
But Clinton, not going to take up too much of your time. I'd like to firstly congratulate you for your success with Magesi, but also as a servant of the game, a true servant of the game.
Thank you so much, Sizwe. It's a great pleasure being on this platform. And yeah, we're going to keep fighting. You know, we've got 24 league games to play. It's going to be a long, tough season ahead of us. We'll just keep trying our best. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, after what's been a good show, unfortunately, we've come to the end of this week's broadcast. And as far as Game On, we hope you enjoy the football that will be on show out in England and locally over the weekend and in the week to come. But thank you so much to Clinton Larson for his time, and not forgetting Jerry Skosana as well as Shane McGregor, from myself, Caesar Mapena, and the rest of the team behind the scenes. Click, click, bang.